Welcome to Nasdaq TradeTalks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have Daniel Newman, CEO of Futurum Group, to discuss where there are major innovation and business growth opportunities coming from AI and machine learning products. Daniel, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thanks for having me.
You got it. Artificial intelligence has emerged as one of the most transformative technologies and includes chatbots, self-driving cars, predictive analytics, and fraud detection. In fact, before ChatGPT was part of our everyday lexicon, you were talking about this back in June. How big is the global AI market expected to grow?
Yeah, I think that number's actually changed quite a bit in even just the past few weeks, but we saw Bank of America came out with a number nearing $1 trillion in just the next couple of years. And that growth is going to come largely from software. But of course, we're going to see that across the hardware ecosystem as well. We're going to see it in automotive. The opportunity is huge. And we just saw in a very short period of time how quickly this can advance and really change models in almost in a day when we see these new launches coming out from all these companies across many of them on the Nasdaq.
You know, it's so interesting. No one was talking about ChatGPT, not in, mainstream media or amongst everyone. Do you think the initial shock and excitement about generative AI has begun to wear off? Where do you think the focus is now?
Well, I think the mainstream market is starting to say, okay, we get it. There's this new generative capability. It's going to draw pictures for us. It's going to do our PowerPoints. It's going to write our press releases. But many people still really haven't experienced it. You're seeing companies like, with Bing just starting to roll it out in their search. And so I think that for some of us, for people like you and I that see this every day, I do think it's starting to wear off, and we're starting to ask bigger questions about, well, what does this really mean for work? What does this mean for ethics? What does this mean for sustainability? But I think the mainstream is still they're really trying to grapple with this. Like, how big is this? And when do we all really get to play with this day to day?
Yeah, I mean, it really is interesting. I'm in grad school and our syllabus for this semester did not mention ChatGPT at all. And if flash forward in just a few weeks later, all of a sudden they're talking about that within the syllabus and what's expected and not expected. That's how fast it moves. What applications are top of mind for companies and CEOs considering AI generative language engines?
Yeah, I work with a lot of CEOs of big tech companies, and let's just say, first of all, their talking points have changed in a very short period of time because of this. It went from being something in the future on a roadmap, and we even saw with major AI leaders being put on their heels, having to quickly react and put new products into the marketplace. The CEOs are kind of wondering, one, how does this drive productivity? And then how does this impact culture? Because you start driving that productivity, you're using applications to create your PowerPoints or to write press releases, automate emails and proposals. Well, what about all the people doing that work? So CEOs are in this really challenging position of trying to balance, okay, we can be more productive, but at the same time, how do we manage not scaring people away? This was already a problem with automation rising over the past few years. And now you have a generative tool that does what we thought automation might, short circuit over a decade. And it did it in a matter of just a few months. So that's one thing. And then, of course, every company is being asked to look at sustainability. And if you look at what the impact of generative AI is going to be on compute, you're talking from 10x to hundreds of thousands of X more utilization of compute. This means a bigger challenge for sustainability. This means added expense for the utilization. And I think CEOs are kind of trying to balance that. How much are we going to invest in this additional capability to drive productivity? And how do we keep our culture in a good place when people start to worry about potential job augmentation and displacement?
Yeah. What workers could be impacted, and how should the tech industry be approaching this? Because when you think about upskilling and acquiring new skills, that takes a little bit longer than how fast this technology is moving.
Yeah, I'm really glad you mentioned upskilling. I felt during the pandemic early on, when we started to see the job market tighten a lot, the companies started talking about upskilling quite a bit. And then over the past few months, as the economy has gotten a little bit more difficult and we've started to see some of these rifts, we've heard a little bit less about it. I think the generative AI conversation is going to drive this back to the forefront. This is going to be something to drive the ethical conversation, the social responsibility. We've heard what Elon Musk is talking about with slowing down the advancement of AI. Companies are going to have to figure out, how do we build programs to skill our workers so that creative workers are doing that next level work? And I would compare it to like software development. We've seen low code and no code enter the market, but developers haven't gone away. We have to look at that continuum and say, how do we do the same thing with these knowledge type of applications like writing and creative? Can we upskill there?
Right. And you had mentioned ethics before, and I think that's something really important to discuss. How dangerous is AI when it comes to manufacturing misinformation?
We've got a big challenge. One company called it usefully wrong. I think that's an interesting utilization of terms, but it is one of these opportunities to continue to train, learn, and eventually these systems will get better and better. We've already seen without generative AI, the power of being able to use search, SEO, and other optimization tactics to get the wrong information or to put it in social channels. This could be utilized to spread it faster, but also the capabilities of generative AI and reinforcement learning could actually slow down misinformation because the algorithms could be trained to be more adept to identifying it. In my opinion, the risk is going to be high because of how fast we're moving without guardrails, without ethics, without really having the global economy being able to put up guardrails that are universal. But having said that, there's no putting this genie back in the bottle.
Of course, it's already left the barn for sure. Anything else we need to know about AI? What's top of mind for you?
Yeah, I think it's one of those really delicate balances. I feel that the tech industry and the productivity gains are going to outweigh many of the risks, but I feel that the avoidance of talking about the risks is going to be a big mistake. We need to make the employee bases of our companies feel comfortable that we are looking at how to utilize these tools and advance and to grow their careers. I feel that if we just keep rolling out new products and we're not communicating, it's going to create culture shock. And that culture shock could be really problematic for the type of growth and expansion that we need, especially coming out of what's going to be a tighter economy for the next several quarters.
All right. Appreciate the insight, Daniel. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.